Welcome back to the Authority X Factor podcast. I'm your host, Kelly Schuknecht. And in my book, Unlocking Your Authority X Factor, I talk about how what the world needs now is experts who can take complex, intimidating topics and make them feel accessible and human. Today's guest has done exactly that for the world of finance. Joel Salomon is a finance and mindful money expert, a master prosperity coach, and an award winning speaker. Before he began helping thousands of people overcome the obstacles to financial freedom, Joel was a heavy hitter in the world of high finance, managing a $700 million portfolio and launching his own successful hedge fund. But what makes Joel's authority so unique, his real authority X factor, is that he believes the foundation of wealth isn't just in numbers, but in a mindset of abundance, gratitude, and service. He is the best selling author of 3 books, including the 9 Money Rules Millionaires Use, and he has a massive mission to help over 100,000 people achieve financial freedom. Today, we're going to talk about how Joel pivoted from the cutthroat world of hedge funds to become a mindful money trailblazer, how he uses his books as credibility assets to fuel his mission, and why your self-worth is just as important as your net worth. Joel, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Kelly, for having me. It's a great pleasure and honor to be here today.
I'm so excited to dig into all of this. You're the first guest I've had on this show. It's still a fairly new podcast, but you're the first one I've had who I didn't already have a connection with. So your story is completely unique to me. Usually I can guide people through the flow of a conversation I want to have because I know them. But in your case, you're doing all the right things and I don't know much about you. So I want to dig in first and ask you, I alluded a little bit in the intro to your authority X factor. But I want to ask you, just in your own words, how you describe your authority X factor, which is that unique blend of your experience, your experience in your career, and your skill set, your interests. Like, what led you to lead clients in the way that you do now? How would you describe that?
So I think what's really unique, the X factor, is that I combine the finance background with the money mindset background. And I know a lot of coaches who teach money mindset. And I know a lot of financial advisors who are great with investing and what's your financial freedom number and insurance and annuities and all that. And I combine both worlds together. And so what I teach is quite unique, I believe, because I combine the mindset and the strategy. Right. So it's not just, okay, I'm going to get your money mindset to a place where, you believe and know that you're worthy of massive wealth and we've improved your self worth and then go. No, I then take the next step and it's all about, okay, how can we help your business? How can you compound your money even more by teaching you about investing in stocks or whatever you're interested in investing in? So it's really a combination of both of those. And how I got into this really is when I had my own hedge fund. And it was the end of 2015. I was living my dream. If you had asked me, you know, 25 years earlier, what's your dream job? I would have said money manager. And I was living my dream. As Warren Buffett says, I was tap dancing to work every day. And so I thought, I'm good. I achieved my dream and I went to a personal development course in December 2015. It was a 3-day course and we had a guest speaker speaking for 1 hour on day 2. And he got up and started speaking about stocks and stock options. And when he spoke about stock options, he made it sound easy.
Mm.
He said, you don't need much time. You don't need much money. This is how the rich people get rich. And options are essentially risk free. And I was sick to my stomach. I had people tapping me on the shoulder, whispering, "Here, Joel, does this make sense? Are options really riskless?" And so after he was done, I was polite. We went out of the auditorium. I told him, please don't do this. He has no idea about any of you individually. And most importantly, no idea about your belief that you could become rich using options. Now, there was a second thing that happened at that personal development course, which was we were given a wooden board 2 inches thick and we were told we were going to break it with our bare hand. Have you done that, Kelly?
No.
There was a lot of fear in the room. The exercise was called Obstacles Are Illusions.
Okay.
and we literally had to write a permission slip listing next of kin. Just kidding. But we did have to write a permission slip releasing liability. But it was called obstacles or illusions. And on one side of the board, we had to write a biggest obstacle. And then
Okay.
on the other side, our ultimate goal, which stumped me for a while. And then it hit me, make everyone in this room financially free. Make everyone in this room financially free. And then I broke the board like the other 200 people in the room that day. I went
No, it
home that
actually
night.
just breaks when you do that.
No, we had 45 minutes of training.
Oh, okay, okay. I was like,
Yeah, no.
as somebody who has had 3 hand surgeries, I'm like, that scares the crap out of me, but okay, you were trained. All right, got it.
Yeah, we were trained, we had holders, and we were told how to shift our weight and where to hit the board. I mean, there was literally about an hour worth of training to figure out exactly how to do this,
Okay.
and it was mostly mindset, right? Obstacles are illusions. Mindset, working on your mind for an hour and how your mind can create what you want. And actually, what was really interesting is we had to, when we ended the turn, we had to land beyond the board. So, so before, as we were practicing, land beyond the board each time, practice 10, 20 times, landing beyond the board as if the hand was already through the board. It was a lot of mental work. Anyway, went home that night, couldn't sleep. First, the guy was in my head. And I realized if I could ever get up the courage to speak on a stage, because my biggest fear that day was public speaking. In fact, if you had asked me that day to do this, I would have said, just shoot me.
Yeah.
There's no way.
Yeah.
No, I'm
Yeah.
not doing
Okay.
it. So I figured if I could ever get up the courage to speak on a stage, I could teach people the truth about money, not lie to them, and be of service. And then the second thing going on in my head at 4:30 in the morning was that wooden board staring back at me from across my bedroom. Actually, half the wooden board. Make everyone in this room financially free. I think it hit me 4:30. I jumped out of bed. I quickly got dressed. I was at my office in Midtown Manhattan before the sun rose, and I sent an email to my investors telling them I'm giving them the money back. I'm shutting down my fund. I figured out my true purpose on earth.
Wow. Okay, I have so many things I wanna dig into with you from that story. Number 1, I just have to tell you, it is refreshing for me to hear somebody who is doing what you're doing, who says what I say when I go do interviews, is that public speaking, even doing a podcast, was the scariest thing that I had ever done. And like you, I pushed myself. I didn't know why. You already had your why. I didn't know why. I just knew that it was something that was going to hold me back and that I needed to combat it. I needed to get over it. I needed to work on it. And but like you, I imagine you haven't told this part of the story yet, but now when I get on stages and I tell my story, and I share, what I'm teaching, so many people come up to me after and they're just like they are, they just feel like they've learned something from me. They got something out of it, which and as a speaker, oftentimes there's a lot of speakers at events who are dry, boring, not super helpful, right? And so people kind of get worn out during the day, and so I tend to have people that come up to me after and they're just like, "Oh my gosh, that was, so great, whatever." And they want to talk to me. And every time I'm like, who am I to be out here doing this? Like, you know what I mean? So it's fun to hear somebody else say that. It's like we're not all just natural public speakers and it's not easy for everyone. And yet we all have something, and that's really what my book is all about, right? We all have something to teach people. And many of us just kind of live in that or continue working in that place of being, hidden, heads down, doing our work and not recognizing our own potential there.
Well, who are you not to be?
What does that mean?
You said, "Who am I to be up there on
Oh,
stage telling
yeah,
them?" But who are you not to be? As
right.
Marianne Williamson said, "Who are you
Such a great
not to show
mindset.
your light?
Yeah,
Who are you
yeah,
not to be?" Right?
yeah.
Because I will tell you, most of my clients are spiritual entrepreneurs, the Reiki master, energy healer, yoga teacher, meditation teacher, hypnotist, and they have a hard time with being visible. And I push myself every day. This is a push for me. I have to be admit it. It's a push to do any podcast interview, even though I've done probably 200 now. It's still a push. And I say to them, but who are you not to? Because there are people out there in the world who are waiting for you to get more visible, and they will only resonate with you. Right. I said this at my Money Miracles Mastermind group today. We have a unique client who's a employment lawyer, and I said to her, so you got to get more visible. There are tons of employment lawyers out there, right? But there's only a number of people who resonate with you, and if you're hiding, they won't get the help they need.
Right.
And so I
Yeah.
say that to the energy healer and the yoga teacher and meditation teacher and the hypnotist. Yes, there are other hypnotists out there, but there are thousands of people that will only resonate with you. And
Right.
if they can't find you, they're not going to solve that smoking problem or that weight loss problem or whatever other problem they need to get solved. They're waiting for you to get more visible. So who are you not to?
Yeah. I love that. So I want to talk about this mindset thing a little bit more. I imagine you've read the book The Secret. Yeah. And I don't know what you feel about that, but I had only read it just a few months ago, a couple months ago, and or listened to the audiobook, and I love the idea of it. And uh, the reality for many of us business owners, small business owners, is that it's stressful, and the stressful stuff is always, like, top of mind, right? And so I'm always trying to do that visualization piece of, like, focusing on the positive and being, visualizing and whatever, but, like, how do you help people with that mindset piece when it doesn't feel natural to have that mindset? Like, what are some of the tips that you give people around just mindset shifting or mindset focus?
Yeah. And I think The Secret got a bad rap because people didn't completely understand it. They thought when the story was about the guy who went to his mailbox and got the check in the mail, that they could just sit in the fetal position on their bed and meditate and visualize all day and the check will appear. And I don't think that that's what they meant. And I do know that I don't know any billionaires who just sit at home and meditate and visualize all day. Now, they may do that, but they also, after they do that, are taking action. And I will
Yeah,
call it inspired action from the visualization. So
yeah,
let me just start with there. That's really important. Now, yes, life can be stressful. Yes, your business can be stressful. And I will say, and this may be controversial, but that you get to choose your emotions and you get to choose stress or not. You get to choose how you react to things, quote unquote, going wrong. I was on a Facebook Live swap yet last night, and the woman did something wrong, and we were muted the whole 14 minutes. Now, that could have gotten people quite upset, could have got you stressed and angry. And I said, Lori, maybe this was meant to be. Maybe we were supposed to spend more time together. Who knows? Like maybe no one was, it was a bad time. We're supposed to do it a different time. Who knows? Like I just,
oh, so you were talking to each other like we are, and people were supposed to be watching and listening, but they couldn't hear you, and you didn't know. You were just having the conversation. Oh, no.
for 14 minutes.
Shoot.
So whatever, like you could get stressed out at that. You could get angry. You could get mad. And, as a certified infinite possibilities trainer, we teach that we create our emotions and emotions are a perception based on your thoughts, beliefs, and actions. And so if you can reframe it and say, choose I'm choosing to be stressed. Right? I'm choosing to be angry. I'm choosing. And what we teach in Infinite Possibilities is usually those low vibration emotions are a misperception of reality. Right? Because if you knew the truth, which is you are an infinite intelligence come alive in this human body, you are the universe of God, by God, for God, right? You are everything. You are infinite and intelligence come alive, right? And so if you take a step back, you are love. You are infinite love.
Yeah.
And then we
It's
get
like,
sucked into the 3D reality of things. And so, yeah, we forget. And we came here forgotten. Came here to forget, right? To learn, to grow. Because if you knew that in your heart of hearts, then you would never have those low vibration emotions, right?
yeah,
And I'm not
yeah,
saying I don't have them. I have them all the time. I think the most important thing is to figure out how to get back to a higher
mm,
vibration state after you're stressed, after you're angry, after somebody triggers you. Is it taking weeks or days or hours or minutes?
yeah, yeah. Well, and it's also, it's like if you're in this mindset of like, I'm not good enough, or like, if everything that goes wrong proves to you that you're not good enough, or you're not smart enough, or you're not like other people or whatever, right? Then then it's proving that to you. Like then you're that's what you're the reality you're accepting. And so often I think, it's thinking bigger, and for me, I'm still like trying to figure this all out, Joel. So I'm this conversation is like just it's like therapy for me right now. But it's like I keep reminding myself like, well, if that person did it, why can't I? Or if that person is, on this platform doing X, Y, whatever it is, why not me? I mean, and that's what you said too. Like the wording was similar, right? Like, why not me? Why am I not that person, right? So it's reminding myself that that potential is within me, and I just have to keep, if I have a bad day, just shift into like, all right, now we just keep moving forward, right? Instead of just giving up and going, yeah, I'm gonna sit on the couch and dream of my, the whatever that the my dream of the things that I want instead of like actually doing anything to get there.
So let me go back to your question
Yeah, yeah,
because I didn't really answer it. And I do have techniques, right? And because a lot of my clients do come to me in low vibration, they come to me with those thoughts of I'm not good enough. Just today signed up a new client who when he signed up, he said to me, "Joel, I'm terrified." And I said, "What are you terrified about?" He's like, "Look, I'm stressed about my money situation. Now you're making me pay more money. Like I shouldn't be doing this." And I'm like, "I understand, but how long do you want to go without solving this problem? You've gone 20 years, right? Do you want to go another year, another 5 years without solving the problem?" So yes, it can be stressful. It can be, a lot of the clients come to me with those feelings of I'm not good enough. Like I am not worthy of massive wealth. That's one of the statements I ask. I ask people to write down if they believe these statements are true. And one of them is I am worthy of massive wealth. And there are a lot of potential clients that come to me and say, "No, I'm not." So what we have to do, I don't have to do, but what I like to do is move them from limiting beliefs to empowering beliefs and ask
okay,
the question, do you believe this is a limiting belief or empowering belief? There's only like one truth on earth. If you step off the Empire State Building, you're going down. Okay. And
and
maybe
don't do
someday
that.
we'll figure out how to levitate. I don't know. But not right now. Like, so don't test that. You're going
Yeah,
down. But besides that, everything else is a belief. And so is it limiting you or empowering you?
yeah,
And how can you move from limiting to empowering? So techniques like affirmations, techniques like audio files, techniques like acting as if, like visualizing, like going through the 9 money rules, right?
which is your book.
Which is the 9 money rules millionaires uses book number 2 that I've written, and going through and seeing how can I increase, what makes me happy,
Mm.
right? Raising your vibration. So all these techniques will move you from a state of limitation to a state of empowerment.
Okay, I have a question for you. What's the difference between that, like that mindset shift? Because this is what I keep asking myself, Joel, is like, okay, so that mindset shift and like moving yourself to these positive vibrations, right? Versus just being I don't know the word for it or like how to describe it, but hopelessly optimistic. Do you know what I'm saying? Like not realize being realistic and having that kind of mindset or that kind of do you know what I mean?
Yes, and it's I teach aspiration and pretending, and somebody told me earlier today not to say pretending anymore, but that's what I'm having people like look, if you look at your bank. I had a client a few years ago. He came to me, and the first week he told me he looks at his bank account 3 times a day, and every time he looks, he gets angry and upset and scared and terrified. And I said, "Stop looking 3 times a day. Like, you're down here 3 times a day. You're down here in worry and fear. Stop it." He said, "Joel, but, I gotta figure out things." I said, "Look once a week, just limit it, because everything you're doing is putting you down here in a state far away from abundance and prosperity, right?" And so pretend more, spend more time acting as if. What if this month you generated $50,000? What would you do? What charity would you give to? 5,000. What splurge would you make? Go online, go into your favorite online shopping store and put something in this shopping cart. Don't spend it yet, right? Like, do some pretending and watch how things will shift. Now, I'm not saying don't take any action. Again, it's not getting into the fetal position on your bed and meditating and visualizing. You want to get out into the world and take action because, by the way, mood follows action, and taking action breeds clarity. Taking action breeds clarity. So if you're not taking any action, you don't know what's going to work and what's not going to work. And
Yeah.
by the way, mood follows action. You're going to get happier as you take some actions.
Yeah. I love this. All right, so I want to talk a little bit about the shift into so kind of where we left off earlier with your story was like I, I knew I needed to go out and do this. Knew I needed to teach people. I had this vision of helping everyone in the room become financially free, I think is how you said it. So what happened next? How did you start down that path and how did you start building your thought leadership platform? Because up until then you were not, you were still learning, like you were working, doing whatever, right? But something shifted into like, I need to go out and teach people something. And so what came next for you?
Yeah, great question. So, yeah, I had to shut down the hedge fund first. And so I spent that year of 2016 doing that while once the monies were returned to the investors, probably all of it was done by the end of the second quarter. And then we still had legal entities and accounting stuff to figure out. So I had time to start coaching people. And I had been to some money mindset events, and I met Mike Dooley in October of 2016. So if you don't know, Mike is the author of Infinite Possibilities. He writes a
Okay.
daily email called Note from the Universe that goes out to almost 1.6 million people globally every day. And so I met him through a woman in my mastermind group in October 2016, and we had 3 synchronicities that happened that weekend, and I was like, okay, this was meant to be. I'm supposed to somehow follow him. I got on his mailing list, and the next year I got certified. And I saw his email in January of 2017. And I said, well, I just kind of put out a shingle that I'm a prosperity coach. I probably should get certified in something. And so I got certified to teach the core concepts. And that's how I melded the mindset with the finance. And I got, proper training. And in mindset in general is basically what he teaches, thoughts become things, and beliefs and emotions and taking action and faith in the magical universe. Those are all chapters in his book. And so it just blended really well. I focus on the money part. He's general, and I'm just focused on the money mindset piece. And so to answer your question, when I started out, I would just talk to people. I started a meetup group, I guess, in 2016. That's when people were still mostly meeting in person, all meeting in
Yeah.
person.
Yeah.
And I had 15, 20 people come, And I said, "Look, I'll tell you what your financial freedom number is." It was more on the finance side than the mindset side in 2016, and we just went around the room, and I had people guess what they thought it was, and then I told them how to calculate it, and we calculated it, and then I said, "Hey, if you have any questions for me about anything to do with money, let me answer them for you." So it was like a pro bono thing I did once a week, and then some of those people became clients, and then I started reaching out to clients, investment banks, and people that I was clients of, and said, "Hey, do you know anybody who might want some?" So my idea initially was to teach mindset and investing, right? So I was going to teach people how to improve their money mindset. Nobody was really doing that. Everyone was teaching investing, but I was
Right.
going to say, "Oh, let's teach you money mindset. And by the way, you should know your belief score of every investment you thinking about investing in or currently invested in. And if you don't, go back and check." Because if your belief level is an 8, 9, or 10, you're going to be selling when you should be buying and buying when you should be selling. Right. And so I started teaching mindset and investing to people and then realized very quickly that a lot of people needed more help with the business side of things than the investing side of things, or didn't want help on the investing side, for me at least. And
Mhm.
so it morphed into like business coaching and mindset coaching. And 3 or 4 years ago, I decided that I really wanted to have more investing clients. So I started reaching out to people and say, "Hey, I got a new program just focused on investing and mindset." And so I got a lot of clients the last few years on that. And then last year, I started a done for you program for investing. So people don't need to learn it. They just get my 5-step proprietary stock screen results every week. So did that answer your question?
Yeah. Yeah, it's great. Man, I wanna ask you 100 more questions, but I do have to wrap us up, but I mentioned your one book, so let's talk about your books, let's just mention your books here, for a second, just for anyone who wants to dig into any of this a little bit more. So, The 9 Money Rules Millionaires Use, seems like a great one that I should check out. What are the other 2, Joel?
Well, the first one is Mindful Money Management. It's really a memoir of my career, both as a finance expert and investor at Citi, and then having my own hedge fund. And the last book was Infinite Love and Money, and I did it with a relationship coach, Molly Singh. And the idea was to end divorce caused by money.
Mm,
So it's really a exercise book. So each chapter has exercises for you and your partner to do separately, come together, discuss. And so it's a great book for any couples to do at any point in the relationship, preferably maybe before you're actually tied the knot, but
yeah.
you wanna do it before there's the arguments and stuff. My current book, which will be out this year, is Your Path to Purpose and Prosperity. I'm writing it with a purpose coach, and we're done writing. It's just a matter of getting it into production and all that. So sometime in the next few months, that'll be out. And we wrote it because we truly believe if you're on purpose, if you're doing your passion, then you'll be more prosperous.
Yeah. Great resources. Joel, you are doing some amazing things, and we didn't even really get into your speaking platform or how you're
Next
using your
time.
books, but, yeah, next time, I love it.
But could I give one gift to your viewers?
Yes.
Um, I'd like to gift an individualized roadmap to an extra $10,000 in the next 30 days to the first 7 people who will click the link in the show notes. It's my financial freedom breakthrough blueprint call. It's normally $997, but first 7 people, I'll give it complimentary.
Love it. Well, we'll include that. So we'll include a link to that in the show notes. I also like to end with just asking you how else people can get connected with you or learn more about what you do or how you can help them. So that was a
Yes.
great tool for that. But anything else you want to share there?
Yeah, I mean, go to my website. There's a ton of free stuff on there. Solomore.com is my company name. So my company name is named after my daughters. So it's SA for Solomon, LAUR for Lauren, MOR for Morgan.com. And yeah, there's resources there on everything from money mindset to manifestation techniques to investing. If you go into programs, I even have my my virtual vision board there. I have quotes and my book recommendations as well. Not mine, but 50 other books that I highly recommend reading.
Well, we should add yours to it as well, to that list. Well, Joel, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your authority X factor with us. Again, you're doing some really, really cool, exciting things, and I definitely am going to check out at least a couple of the books that you mentioned. I definitely have interest in those. So thank you so much for coming on and sharing everything with us.
Thank you, Kelly, for having me. Appreciate you.
Thanks for watching. My book, Unlocking Your Authority X Factor, is now available on Amazon. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. See you next week.